everybody, and welcome to episode 318 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play the game of Magic, whether you're sitting at home playing some arena by yourself, you know, across the internet with other people.
Well, yeah.
You get what I'm saying. You're sitting around a table with some friends.
On arena yet.
Yeah. Ooh, what if you could, though?
Well, I don't want to do it.
Well, I don't know why you would. Fair enough.
Sure.
Why would you? Never mind. We don't need to discuss that.
You can just play in the free league.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Wow.
For any reason.
For any reason. Or if you're sitting around a table with some friends or heading out to your local game store for an FNM, we are here for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And we've got a great show for you today. We just got off a plane from Mythic Championship Cleveland.
And oh boy, am I tired.
I mean, seriously, my arms and the rest of me.
Exactly. Exactly. And we came back to a cold, bleak winter landscape.
Oh, yes.
I almost said winter windscape, which would also be correct.
Cleveland was a winter windscape as well.
It was.
But this is even winterier and windscapier.
Yes, and it killed my car's battery.
Yeah,
it killed it good.
Tried to jump Megan's car, and her hood wouldn't stay open because the mechanism was broken.
That's right.
So we found a mic stand and a trunk to prop it open because we're always on brand.
Podcasting coming in handy.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a very opposite of warm welcome here for us.
Yeah, but you know what? We're here for you doing the episode. We released the upkeep yesterday.
That's right. All of that magic news condensed down into just 10 minutes or less. No takes, no hot takes, no cold takes, no takes on it at all. Just the cold, hard facts.
If you want to subscribe to the upkeep, we've got links in the show notes to this podcast. It's available anywhere fine podcasts are found.
That's right. You can also add it as an Alexa skill now.
That's true.
Which is super sweet. An amazing supporter of the show just went out and made that for us, which we so appreciate. And if you add it, if in the morning, if there's a new upkeep that you haven't heard, Alexa will play it as part of your news updates.
That's so cool.
It really is. It's the coolest.
So yeah, we were at Mythic Championship Cleveland covering it for Wizards of the Coast. So we've got all the inside info on how that show went down. It was incredible. More on that later. We're also going to talk about an article from Mark Rosewater.
Yes.
If when kind of download.
And Maria, he called you out. He called you out good.
Yeah, he did. We'll talk about that. I got my hand slapped by Mark Rosewater.
Yeah, you really did. You were like a kid in the cookie jar of
magic ideas.
Nonsense.
Yeah, plainer nonsense. Wow.
Which is an alternative title to our show.
I think it sounds like a great name for a cookie.
Yes.
Plainer nonsense is just like, you know, when you make a stew with just whatever you have in the kitchen. Plainer nonsense.
That sounds like a monster cookie.
Yeah, monster cookie. Oh, there's already a name for it.
But they should call it plainer nonsense.
Yeah. But
anyways,
I pitched an idea to him, and it wasn't good enough for a variety of reasons. But a lot of other people asked questions to Mark, like, will this happen? Or when will it happen? And Mark responds with if or when, and when is like pretty sure like it's gonna happen, and an if is less sure. And so we'll go through all the ideas people have for him and whether or not they have like a good chance of ever happening.
That's right. We'll also have a brief story time with Meghan, which is me, where I'll update you on what's happened with the Golgari on Ravnica.
Ooh.
The story for the Golgari was very messed up.
Ooh, excellent. I'm
We've
super
talked
excited.
About how some of the other ones were also messed up.
We had a demure
this one,
magic baby.
That's true. This one was so messed up.
I'm in.
Also, okay, never mind.
Don't save it.
Oh,
what?
I mean, it's not about that.
Oh.
It's about Full Metal Alchemist. But I just decided that I don't want to give spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched the full series.
Okay, great.
So I just won't.
Great. Looking out.
Yes.
Right before we get into the show, a huge thank you to everybody who joined our Patreon family this month for the Patreon Pledge Drive. As you know, this is our last show that's part of the February Patreon Pledge Drive. So thank you, everybody who joined. It was just a monumental outpouring of just wonderful support
and support
from our community, and we couldn't be happier.
Thank you, everyone who called 612 fossils with a Z. And left us a message like this one here.
Hi, Megan and Maria. This is Joe. I wanted to share with you some information that I think everybody needs to know. It's how to do the perfect high five every time. Because there's nothing worse than kind of a halfway high five that doesn't have the satisfying pop to it. So the secret is, when you're giving someone a high five, look at their elbow. Don't look at their hand. Look at the elbow that they're high-fiving with. And if you both look at each other's elbows when you do the high five, it'll be perfect every time. I encourage you to test out this theory.
It just is eternally delightful to me.
Oh, yes.
To get those messages. And to anyone who messaged us on Patreon or sent us an email. It really it has just made us feel so supported during a time when we feel like things are kind of up in the air, or generally the ground is a little uneven beneath your feet.
Right.
It's a little bit easier to bear when there are other people out there who've got your back.
I hope you'll consider continuing your support after February is done, because it really does mean a lot to us, and we still really do need your help. I'm gonna show something off.
Ooh, okay.
That we made this.
Oh, this is. I'm just gonna cover for a second. I'm vamping.
Look it.
Whoa. It's for those of you who are only listening and not watching, it's our beautiful sign of our Ravnica heroes. The sign of deeply overdue.
Yeah.
But we couldn't find anywhere that only wanted to let us buy one sign. Which sounds weird.
For not like $1 million.
Exactly. But eventually we were able to find a company that would let us purchase a single sign from them. If you're trying to get into the sign business, maybe we recommend selling single signs to people.
Yeah.
But it's for all the people who helped contribute to make Ravnica happen last year,
which is our office space.
Yes.
So thank you so much. That's going to be hung up on our wall very shortly, but I just wanted to show everyone I'm so happy and so thankful for those Ravnica supporters. And big thanks to Card Kingdom for being our awesome sponsor, cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Use that link if there's anything you want to buy Magic related in your entire life, and ask for a good luck high five sticker in your order. They'll give it to you for free.
Yes. Also, sick personal brags for all the people out there who have for months now asked me why I didn't have Vivian Reed's haircut. If you're not watching the video,
she does
you don't know yet, but now I have Vivian Reed's haircut.
She does.
Here.
It's so good. It is so good. I love that you got it, and you're just like, somebody asked, like, why don't you have it? And you thought to yourself, I do not have a good answer.
I don't have a good answer for why I don't. It was true. And at first I thought I was going to put it off, but then I woke up last week and it was like, I'm done.
Yeah, you got it. You and Vivian Reed right now, looking great. And by the way, Card Kingdom's blog on their website right now has an article about how to play Mono Blue, the deck that took down the Mythic Championship Cleveland, and how to beat it. So go check that out on their blog. Great company, cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Everybody, let's talk about Mythic Championship Cleveland, the first ever Mythic Championship.
That's right. It's an incredible event. Was an incredible event.
Yeah.
If you're like, Mythic Championship, say what? It's basically the Pro Tour.
That's the Pro Tour with a new name.
It is the renamed Pro Tour. Eventually, in a couple months, it will be expanded. It includes both arena events and tabletop events that are Mythic Championships.
Yeah, so tabletop events, same as the Pro Tours were. There's a few more this year, still like hundreds of players heading to them. The Arena Mythic Championships, on the other hand, are only 52 players, but will be for even, I was going to say as much money, but it's actually more money than the Mythic Championship tabletop.
Dang, kids.
But yeah, the first one this past weekend, and it was a little tough getting used to saying Mythic Championship, but you know what? We got there.
You certainly did. So where to even start?
I mean, there is so much to talk about.
It could be beginning to end a Pro Tour Mythic Championship show.
It really could. Let's talk about the highlight.
Okay.
The number one highlight, the winner of the whole thing, Autumn Burchett.
Yes.
Yay!
Incredible. It was both amazing to watch, and also the whole time I just kept thinking, like, of course they're gonna win.
Yeah.
They're an incredible Magic player.
And you said it yesterday, I think, or today, you said it was their tournament to win, and I felt that from the last rounds of the Swiss.
Yeah, exactly. I think that even they went into day 2 with a record of like 7-1.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
For the Mythic Championship. And from then on, it was just like,
Yeah.
I believe that they're going to do this.
Yeah.
And we were even talking about how a couple of years back, in one of their very first pro tours, they didn't make the top 8, but they went something like 9-1 in the standard rounds.
Yes.
Which you knew because they post the standard deck lists by record.
Yeah.
And Autumn was there alone.
Yeah.
Like that was the only 9-1 deck list. And I remember looking at that and just being like, that's
That's
wild.
So hard to get that record in standard.
That's an incredible
in this
record.
field. And this is the thing too. Autumn said, I had this great constructed record at that past pro tour, but my draft performance wasn't good.
Yes.
And so I said to myself, I need to start working on draft and working on it hard. And they did. And they approached it, they said, kind of like building a standard deck when you're drafting. And I thought that was really cool. And then started to turn around the draft performance. And at this tournament, only had one loss in draft.
One loss in draft.
Undefeated in the first draft.
To none other than Reed Duke, who was a 6-0 drafter at the event.
Yes, yes. And their deck from the first draft of the tournament was Simic, and I was talking to Autumn about it, and they said, "Well, I just wanted to make sure my opponent's creatures never became untapped." So it was like a couple of Chillbringers, a
little Shark to Crab
to
Crab action.
Yeah. So like I just love that identifying the weakness and saying, you know what, I'm going to beat that weakness down with a hammer and make it not a weakness anymore.
They even talked about winning a game with that Simic deck through Ethereal Absolution that their opponent had.
Yeah.
Which is just considered like one of the bomb rares of the format.
So this is a historic moment for Magic because Autumn is the first non-male competitor to win a Mythic Championship or a Pro Tour, and also the first trans person, non-binary person to win a Mythic Championship, which is huge. And in their winner interview, which is just like, oh my gosh, if you want to cry, go watch it.
Yeah.
It's so touching and wonderful. Autumn talked about the inspiration of Melissa DeTora making a top 8.
Yeah.
You know, a few years ago, the first woman to make a top 8, like as a huge inspiration to keep going and go for that goal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible interview. All of the interviews that Autumn gave over the weekend.
They were all so good.
They were all really good. When they're talking about like the formats, again, just an incredible Magic player who just knows what's going on.
Absolutely.
And has so much insight into all of it. And then also just having this real sense of they're not a stoic Magic player at all.
I love it. Emotion.
Exactly. It's really nice to see someone be able to admit that this matters a lot.
Yeah.
Because if it
Not be afraid
doesn't
to show
matter to you that much, why are you doing it?
Yeah. It was wonderful. The moment Autumn run was rushed by some friends, including Emma Handy, into the feature match area. A huge hug. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I did a deck tech with Autumn on the mono blue tempo deck that they brought to the tournament, and wow, what a great insight into tuning a deck for a Pro Tour. Sorry, Mythic Championship. Because they hit the nail on the head. This was the right deck to bring.
Yeah.
Period. Okay.
And I talked to so many players, just moving a little bit into talking about like the standard formats.
Yeah.
I talked to so many players who brought that deck who just believed, and you could see players who had brought it, who were tweeting about it, just believing that they had the best deck in the room.
Yeah.
Which is not a feeling, you know, that people always have at the Mythic Championship.
No.
A lot of the times it's just like, well, we've built what we can, I'm playing what I know, or I'm playing what I think is going to be good, but I can't be certain.
Yeah.
And they looked at that meta game breakdown on day one and they were just like, yeah, we've got it.
We made the right choice.
Yeah.
And Autumn specifically, I want to call it one more thing, had tweaked the mono blue list to be slightly more controlling by cutting back on Mistcloak Heralds in the list. And a lot of people, I think, thought this was a mistake. They're like, no, that's not what mono blue wants to do. Mono blue wants to play the 1-drop and they want to put Curious Obsession on it.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, what are you doing? You're going to lose. And I think we saw through Autumn's play in the top 8 especially how that was the right decision.
Yeah. That if you want to watch some honestly just like incredible games of Magic that to me feel right, sometimes you watch a timeless match that's always going to be great Magic. And Autumn versus Reed in the semifinals is a mono blue tempo mirror.
Good.
And I remember I was standing at the back of like the spectator area in the hall, and I was watching the final turns of the game, and I could like feel my heart in my chest.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about this match.
My chest was beating. And there were so many times when Autumn pulled out victories that were like they were attacked down to 1.
Yeah.
And then clawed
came
their
back.
their way back in. There were times when they, in the quarterfinals, against
Julian Berteau.
yes, they discarded to hand size.
Yes, that happened.
Kept a one-lander with an opt.
And missed on 2 opts.
Exactly. Which everyone agrees, like, that's not a bad hand to
No.
keep. That's a great hand. But missed. Yeah. Ended up discarding to hand size and went on to win that game.
And then in the finals match versus Yoshihiko Ikawa, who was playing Esper Control, the game came down to game 5.
Yep.
Talk about a nail biter. It looked like Esper was going to win.
It looked like Ikawa was going to, like, turn that ship around.
Ikawa had all the tools in hand.
Yeah.
But Autumn outplayed him. It was
so good.
unbelievable.
Obviously, honestly, we could keep gushing.
I mean, seriously.
About this for
there's-
forever.
We've been to a lot of Pro Tours or Mythic Championships, okay? This
Yes.
top 8 was stellar. If you want to watch some good games of Magic that are
Yes.
just super fun to watch also,
Yeah.
check out those matches, particularly the one versus Reed Duke and the finals.
Yeah. And that being said, there were also other matches in the top 8.
Yeah, that happened
There
too.
were other matches in the top 8.
Sure.
Many of which were very good Magic.
Yeah, should we talk about what actually got into the top 8 here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had, in addition to 3 copies of Mono Blue, which only lost to itself.
Yes. I love that.
It was blue versus blue in the quarterfinals and blue versus blue in the semifinals.
Yeah. So the blue players were Autumn Burchett, Julian Berteau from France, and Reed Duke, of course, of the USA, who this was his fourth MC top 8, which
Yes.
is Hall of Fame territory, if the Hall of Fame still exists as we know it.
Exactly. And also already in the Hall of Fame,
Yes.
Luis Scott Vargas notched his 10th.
Number 10,
10th top 8.
which is getting into unbelievable
And
territory.
it's something also they talk about the best players in the game, and by that I mean like the Twitterverse.
Yeah.
Was talking about the best players in the game and was just like, is Luis now in
I mean,
consideration as potentially the best player of all time?
I think that is a fair conversation to have. I honestly do. You know, he has been in the top. Oh gosh, there's some statistic about how well he's done. But
in the
I can't
last
remember.
couple of Pro Tours alone.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about like the last 5 Pro Tours that LSV has played.
Yeah.
Something like 3 of them.
Yeah, and
He's top 8'd.
it was so
Like,
funny.
What?
There was this moment at the desk where I was like getting emotional over an Autumn win, and I was trying to keep it together. And somebody was talking about this LSV fact, and I was talking to Simon, and I'm just like, and I didn't pick him in my fantasy league because I thought to myself, all right, he top 8'd the last one. Can he top 8 this one? No, that's ridiculous. I'm such an idiot. I just like had a moment of I'm like, I'm so stupid.
It's LSV.
Which is a real emotion I had. And I'm sitting there like I couldn't believe
He
it.
can top 8 whatever he wants to.
Just like, well, yeah, I feel like go top 8. Anyway, what
Yeah.
else made it into the top 8?
There was a Simic Nexus deck. This was Michael Bonda.
Yeah, and Michael Bonda it's my first experience
Yes,
with
from
him.
Denmark.
From Denmark. Such a great guy. Had just had a baby daughter named Dawn. He seemed super happy and he danced his way into the top 8
Yes.
announcement. It was really cute.
Great.
Yeah.
Someone made a GIF of it online. And
Beautiful
it was
gif.
delightful.
And yeah, this Simic Nexus deck, we've talked about it. This is kind of the flavor of the month as far as Nexus goes. But only one copy here in the top 8.
Yes, I obviously really appreciate this deck.
Oh, yes.
Then we had Marcio Carvalho on Azorius Aggro.
Yeah.
And Carvalho also, this was his
Number
6th top 8. And again, we're looking at, in the last couple of years, him picking up the majority of those top 8s.
And I think it's kind of unfortunate that he, is, not in consideration as like one of the
Yeah.
greats of all time because he has a shady past for cheating
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Because honestly, this guy is incredible at Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, all that other stuff notwithstanding, this number 6 is absurd.
Yeah. He is obviously just like incredibly skilled.
Yes.
And I think it goes to show, don't cheat.
Yeah, just don't. You don't need to.
Don't ever, because even if it was years in your past,
People don't forget
the Magic
it.
community will not forget.
Long memories.
And I feel like I hope that at some and I feel like a lot of players are slowly coming to the point where they're able to talk about Marcio without having that at the forefront of their minds.
Yeah.
I don't know that it will ever go away completely.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's interesting to me. I notice a lot of like Brazilian players, like a lot of South American and Portuguese players.
They love him.
They love him. And they know how good he is at the game, and they talk a lot about how good he is at the game. And part of me wishes that I feel like they have this attitude of like they just shouldn't touch it because everyone else is bringing it up constantly. Yeah. But honestly, I would love to see.
I wish he would address
people, and not even Marcio, but like some of his most adamant supporters. Like, right, I super respect Carlos Romão, and I would love to see when Romão is out there being like, "Why are we not talking about Marcio for Hall of Fame?"
Yeah,
I would love to see him be like, "This is why I believe
that would be great.
That I could vote for him now."
I would love to hear that. Mono white aggro, the deck of choice here, or sorry, Azorius aggro. The blue is in it only for the sideboard here, for cards like Negate and Disdainful Stroke and that kind of thing. If you put mono white and Azorius aggro kind of in the same category, it was a huge percentage of the field too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we had Esper Control, which was Yoshihiko Ikawa's list.
You like this deck, Megan?
I do. I really like it. It's beautiful.
Kaya comes on in out of the sideboard,
which was great. We got to see Kaya kill some Terramanders.
It was
some
cool.
Mistcloaked Heralds.
It's like, hey Kaya, you're seeing play.
Yeah.
You're +1 or not irrelevant. -1. What is it?
I think the minus. It's her -1. Yes, -1 exile.
Not irrelevant.
Exactly. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Super sweet deck.
Yes. Also, this deck notably runs 2 Cry of the Carnarium, which gives all creatures -2/-2 until end of turn.
Seems pretty good in this field.
Getting around any indestructible shenanigans.
Alex Magelton brought Gruul aggro, which is kind of a misnomer because it is just mono red aggro. Once again, much like Marcio's list, the green in this deck is only for cards out of the sideboard, which is Collision Colossus and Cindervines.
Yeah. And then last we have Is It Phoenix? This is what LSV was playing. Super surprising because it seemed like the metagame had settled on the idea that Is It Drakes was the best way to go with this kind of strategy.
Yeah.
But this was obviously like the highest finisher of those kinds of blue-red tempo and Drake's decks.
I know. I was walking about amongst the players and I saw some Arclight Phoenixes on the table across from a CFB person. I was like, what?
Say what?
Like, Is It Drakes doesn't run this card anymore. Didn't you get the memo?
I really liked though, and I thought this was great. There was Murmuring Mystic in the sideboard of this, and I've seen the Is It Drake's deck try to come up with a lot of ways to fight against the mono white aggro because that can be a very difficult matchup. Especially in game 1, and you need to come back with a solid way to win games 2 and 3 or win the post board games. And Murmuring Mystic is just like, I had seen other ones using like the Pirate Wrath, the 2 damage to everything. Pyroclasm, which is not the card's real name, but I'm not remembering it. Anyways, and it's just not effective because sometimes they're too big. Like that doesn't kill Snubhorn Sentry, but just having a bunch of birds does the trick.
Yeah, I love it. Great stuff. Really, really exciting top 8. A diverse standard. Paul Chian, who now works for R&D over at Wizards of the Coast, said he was very happy. You know, he had worked on this set, and everyone was glad to see how healthy and vibrant standard was. And I don't think like there's not room for innovation. I do think there's still room to play some wild decks. We saw Joe So from Singapore play a Mardu aggro deck.
That's right.
This was my personal fave, and it was a Judith deck basically, but it had a vampire like sub theme to it.
Yes, it did.
So it played this card. Get ready for it. Vicious Conquistador, which is a 1/2
for a single black mana.
That when it attacks, drains the opponent. Or sorry, I shouldn't say drains. Or does it drain?
I don't remember.
Can you look it up quick?
I can't.
Either way, your opponent takes an extra 1 when it attacks, but I don't remember if you also...
What's the name of it again?
Vicious Conquistador, if you also gain a life off that attack. It had that card. It had Dusk Legion. No, what am I thinking? Dusk Legion dealt the one that comes in and draws you a card.
Each opponent loses 1 life.
Okay, so they just lose 1 life.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's great.
I love it.
Same.
He came in 9th, so just missed out on the top 8, so it's a little sad.
So
but
close.
really cool deck there. And you can find all the decks on dailymtg.com. Hey, guess what?
What?
We changed our outfits.
Yeah, we did. Because it's a different day.
It's a different day. If you're listening to this, you would have had no idea, but we had to call it out.
We said it though.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Here we are.
We were so tired after coming back from Cleveland. We're picking this up where we left off.
Yep.
And now we're going to talk about our leagues that we were playing in our fantasy leagues for Mythic Championship Cleveland.
That's right. Thank you to everyone who joined the leagues. We hope that you had as great a time as we did playing in them. So first off, we've got the Players League, and this was a pick 10. You got 3 points per match win that they had, and then players that make the top 8 got another 3 plus 3 for every match win in the top 8. So you could, if you got people into the top 8,
you did well,
you
probably.
could really do well.
Okay,
So the winner overall,
yes, of everyone who played.
was Paul freaking Chian.
Not again!
His full name. Yeah, this is in fact the second time that he has won.
Paul takes this very seriously, to be fair.
Yes.
Way more seriously than I think even we took it.
I mean, look at that. Look at this. He picked 3 people who ended up in the top 8.
That's true.
There's Reed Duke, Marcio Carvalho, and Luis Scott Vargas.
Great picks.
Wow. Then there was also Shota, PV, Javier Dominguez, Huey, Owen, Alexandra Hain, and his poorest performing player, Yuya
Somehow.
Watanabe.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, great
One
team.
of the all-time greats, but just, not this tournament.
So we also played with listeners, and the highest finishing listener in this pool is going to get a prize package from us. And that, for this time around, is Chaos Orbison.
Congratulations. They picked the winner of the whole
sure
thing in
did.
theirs, Autumn Burchett, Reed Duke, Luis Scott Vargas, another 3 people
Wow.
who made it into that top 8, and the winner of the whole thing. Also, Christian Calcano, William Huey Jensen, Gregory Michael,
Amateur Pro Greg.
Amateur Pro Greg, who
Nice
got
pick.
a nice solid 27 points, same
Yes.
as Matt Nass.
Well done, Greg.
Yeah. So nice work, Chaos Orbison.
You've done it. So now we've got to play between me and you. How did our teams do?
Let's see. I did the worst of almost anyone.
Well, you did better than Greg, who
That's-
picked the Midwestern Grinders.
That's true. I did incredibly poorly, and you did very poorly, but slightly better than me.
Nice.
So
I'll take it.
You weren't dead last. I almost was.
We also had our pick 10 cards league, and this one is, can you scroll up to the points for these?
Yes.
Each card will earn your team 3 points per copy that appears in the main deck of a deck in the top 8, plus 1 point per copy in the sideboard.
And this was won by Simon Gertzen, who came in second in the players.
Yes.
And then second in this one was Paul, who came in first in the players. So Simon and Paul obviously have this thing on lockdown.
Well done.
They're working the system.
They are.
So let's see. Simon's got Opt, Terramander, Dive Down, Charter Course. Just went all in.
I mean,
on that mono blue deck.
looks like Simon knew what was up.
Yeah. Plus Shock, Lightning Strike, Hydroid Krasis.
And 3 cards didn't even make
3 cards that didn't make it at all, and he still managed to win.
Unbelievable.
Because he was so invested in those ones. And then our listener winner is Greg Leverton.
Good job, Greg.
Congratulations, Greg.
You'll be getting a prize package from us as well. Great choices on your cards, only 2 of which weren't in the top 8.
That's
Once again,
right.
green cards, same as
Yeah.
Simon.
We had Opt, Terramander as the top 2 once again, plus some Dauntless Bodyguard, History of Benalia. Very nice. Very nice work.
Thanks once again to the designer of thousandleagues.com for helping us out with making these teams this time around. It's even going to be easier next time on the next Mythic Championship to actually build teams and play.
Yeah.
So more info on that once that comes around.
In this one, Maria, you placed 11th overall.
Out of 50.
Yes, and I placed 8th. So
Okay.
still not good.
Well,
Still quite bad. I want to remember. I don't even remember what I picked. Okay, I had Terramander and Charter Course, top 2 performers.
Nice.
Shock, Chemister's Insight, Gitu Lava Runner, which did not pan
Hot
out well
take.
for me at all. But I only had 1 card that didn't make it, which was Jade Light Ranger.
That's so funny. Simon missed on 3, you missed on 1, and he still won by
still won.
leagues.
Yes, by quite a bit.
Wow.
So, well,
It was fun.
to everyone who played. It's one of my favorite parts of any Mythic
Yeah,
Championship.
I
is
love
having
it.
Our leagues.
Because it's like we're playing 2, kind of.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, like, great show. Mythic Championship Cleveland, awesome. We mentioned it before. Go back and watch some of the matches if you didn't. They are excellent Magic and all that. And you know what? Next one's coming up in 6 or 8 weeks.
I don't
6
know what
weeks.
day it is.
I think the next one is in 6 weeks.
No, it's in like 8.
Is that unbelievable?
It is, but it's at the end of it's at the end of April.
Oh, is it?
That's 8 weeks.
Yes,
from
it
now.
is. Okay, 8 weeks. That still doesn't feel like too long.
No, it's not very long.
Oh boy. Buckle up. All right, friends, we're going to talk about an if-when article from Mark Rosewater that he posts on his Tumblr.
And what does an if-when article mean, Maria?
Sure. So this is a big thing that Mark does about once a year where people can write in about something that could potentially happen in Magic, like be created as a card or a concept or a plane or a mechanic, something like that. And Mark Rosewater will respond if it's an if, like this may happen, or a when, as if this is certain to happen at some point in history. And he even breaks it down more granularly than that and says a minor if, like this is a kind of a probably not likely to happen, to a major when, and that means basically going to happen sometime in the near future. So an example of this, somebody put in legendary werewolf,
Yes.
and Mark Rosewater responded with a major when.
Yes.
So legendary werewolf, definitely going to happen. I think that's pretty cool.
All right, yeah. We have Kamigawa returns, minor if. I'll upshift Kamigawa from major if to minor if, like Lorwyn, there's been a lot of enfranchised fan support for the idea.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about this all the time, going back to Kamigawa, and this does not feel like it's going to happen. But I suppose, I guess major if is even a worse chance of happening than minor if.
Yeah.
But doesn't seem like it's on their radar for the near future.
Yep. Planeswalker from Lorwyn, minor win. For all I know, someone we already know is from Lorwyn. If not, my guess is we'll meet someone from Lorwyn eventually.
I am a huge pusher for going back to Lorwyn.
Yeah.
I want this to happen ASAP. This is the plane I most want to revisit other than Theros. And I think a lot of people have support for this as the plane they want to return to. What would you want to return to if you could?
I think Theros. I really love Theros. It's beautiful.
Theros is great.
It's very cool.
Theros is the coolest.
So that's my pick also.
Okay, great.
Teaser regarding a card put into a design file ahead of release.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume that will happen from time to time. Minor win.
Allies on a world other than Zendikar, and this refers to the creature type ally. This is a minor when, so
Yes.
probably going to happen. And a lot of people like allies. It's a modern deck that's very silly that Tim Willoughby likes to play. And you can look it up online if you're into a very silly modern deck that can do 1 billion damage out of almost nowhere.
Sliver Planeswalker. Sliver is a creature type. Major if. Being a Planeswalker is about being an individual, and slivers are about a hive mind.
Oh, come on. Like the Borg Queen couldn't be a planeswalker?
It's shape. Also, a spark is not something a shape-shifting ability can copy, so a sliver couldn't share its spark with other slivers.
Wow, Mark went deep on that answer.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome. You know my deal with planeswalkers is I want to see more weird stuff become planeswalkers.
Yeah, like a rock.
Like a rock. Well, you could argue that that's kind of Karn-like.
How dare you? Karn is made of silver and is a golem.
I want a frog planeswalker. That's what I
Yargle?
usually say. Yeah,
Yargle. Yargle Walker.
I would love that.
Creature that can copy an ability, not just activated abilities.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, copying any ability has some rules implications that have yet to be worked out. Creatures can become copies of other creatures, so that's a minor if.
Okay. Interaction with emblems is a minor when. So this is a possibility of happening. Minor when.
There are certainly times when I've been like, I wish I could destroy that emblem.
Me too. So maybe
But you put in at the same time, you put in a lot of work to get it.
you sure do. So it better be worth
Yeah,
put in the work to destroy it.
exactly.
Okay. Well, I like that answer. A colored cycle of enchantment lands. This is a major if, so not going to happen. Enchantment Matters is a major when. So this is our second major when we've got.
Yes.
All right. So sweet. This maybe says like a Theros 2.0 to me
Yeah.
for sure.
Theros, Land of Enchantments. Vanilla Matters. Major if. It's got small design space and doesn't play particularly well. A deck of vanilla creatures that don't do anything unless you draw your Vanilla Matters cards.
I love this idea. Okay, hot take. I love every idea Mark Rosewater hates.
Yeah, I think that is the conclusion that we're coming to.
That's so funny. I think it would be great. A changeling planeswalker is a minor if.
Yeah.
I believe, and Mark says, I believe a shapeshifter planeswalker is more likely.
Oh.
Okay, that's kind
Spicy.
of cool.
Sets reusing future sight mechanics. Minor if. We've used or tweaked the most obvious ones. I could imagine us using one, but it's far from certain.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They made up some weird stuff.
They really did. Another iteration on Joyra. Major when.
She's a beloved character on a popular world. Odds of her getting another card are high.
Sweet.
Nice. I love Joyra.
We're big
She's
Joyra
very
fans
cool.
over here. Yeah.
Animal Planeswalker. Minor if.
Oh, come on, Mark. I just said I want a toad planeswalker, and already you're stomping my idea into the ground.
Like a toad.
I can't believe I called it. Oh, dang it. At least it's not a major if.
Yeah, but it is a minor if.
Okay.
Mood swings in print. Major if. What does
I don't
that
know.
even
I
mean?
mean, it's probably referring to some kind of mechanic or something from before.
Something online?
I don't know.
Davriel in a standard legal set. Minor win. We eventually turn most known planeswalkers into cards eventually.
Okay, so this is the planeswalker referred to in the Brandon Saverson. Well, how do you say it? Sanderson novel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this was kind of the lead character in that novel.
Very cool. 4-color cards, but not in a cycle.
Oh, okay. That's a minor when, so that has a pretty good pop.
Minor if.
Oh, where am I? Yeah, minor if. So yeah, that seems like it might happen, but is not a priority here.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip to ones that I think are kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Standard legal legendary white-black angel. Minor when. Okay.
He says we make a lot of legendary angels, so I assume we'll make one eventually.
That's a fair answer.
More 2 iconic creature type creatures like Demon Dragon.
Ooh, nice.
I like Demon Dragon. Minor win. It requires the right story to support, but I assume it will happen eventually.
This is my favorite. A competitive Simic deck for standard. What are you talking about? Simic Nexus just happened.
Yeah.
This says major when.
They mean like creature Simic.
Oh,
I assume.
okay. Yeah, I assume they do too. Yeah.
Yeah. A standard set with more legendary creatures than normal, not as much as Dominaria. It's like a weird bracket there.
Somewhere in the middle, I guess.
Yes.
Mark listed as a major when.
Yes.
Okay, so that's definitely going to happen.
Sliver Homeworld. Ooh.
Ooh, I'm into that.
Minor win. We have a lot of new worlds to make. I assume we'll get there eventually. So many new worlds. I still want to go to Vryn.
What, isn't that where Jace is from?
Yes.
Yeah.
It seemed really cool.
With a floating, like...
Yeah, it had like giant mage rings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
the
lots
mage
of,
rings.
You know, and sphinxes.
Oh, that would play with your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into
Seems
it.
like a cool place.
We probably will go to Vryn.
I mean, I hope so.
Here's a similar question. A second planeswalker of a non-human species that already has one. Oh, I see. Like Ugin was for dragons, but then an example with merfolk or gorgon.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of an interesting. That's a minor when.
I mean, do you think that people identify Vraska as a planeswalker first or a Gorgon first?
Great question. I'm gonna say planeswalker.
Okay, I was gonna say, if I said Vraska, you would say
Planeswalker.
right.
Yeah,
I agree.
for sure.
But if I said Eugene, you would say
Dragon.
I would say Ghost Dragon.
Yeah, it's just what you think first.
Exactly.
More relatives of planeswalkers on cards. Oh, just like Pia
Aw,
Nalar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Except it was so sad when it happened
It
the
was
last
very
time. So what
sad.
about not?
It was very sad. That's a major win for Mark Rosewater.
Ugh,
Okay.
I can't handle
Ooh,
it.
and listen to what he says here. We're going to keep creating worlds that certain planeswalkers are from. So it seems like
Okay.
just a matter of time before we meet more relatives.
What if we have a card that's Jace's mom?
Jason's mom.
Has got it going on.
Yeah, she probably does too.
A new. Why are you talking about Jace's mom like
I don't
that,
know.
Maria?
I don't know. It
Weird.
was just a thought.
A new subtype, for instance, in sorceries, minor win. My assumption is we'll create a new mechanic one day that needs it. So this is like arcane.
Splice onto arcane.
Yes. Or weren't there instants and sorceries that were tribal?
Yes.
Yeah. So stuff like that is what they're talking about.
Okay.
Um,
When or if more Dominaria dwarves. Major when. I assume each Dominaria visit will get us more. So, like, what does he mean? We're going back again? When?
reporting for duty, Major Win.
Major when's here.
And legendary 5-color angel for commander. Minor win.
It's the kind of card I expect us to make one day. Yeah, I agree. They're going to make that one day. Come on. People
White
want it.
spell that draw cards equal to difference between cards in your hand and opponent's hand. White does not get card draw. If you want to draw cards, you want to be blue. And you need to stop asking for other colors things.
Play with your own toys.
Play with your own toys, okay? If you like white, you can gain life and you can have a bunch of creatures. But if you want to draw cards, you get your butt into blue.
This is a major if. No surprise there.
Exactly.
A faction set with 3 factions got a major win from Mark Rosewater. Players love factions, so I anticipated us trying different things with them. That's true.
Wild West Plain. Minor win. My gut says it will happen one day.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Ooh, this is my favorite one.
nice.
Constructed playable equipment.
Hoof.
This is a major win.
Yes.
My best guess is that it will be colored when it happens.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So some equipment that has a color
Okay.
identity instead of colorless equipment.
Okay, that's
Say
interesting.
what?
I'm into it.
Nice. Let's see. We have another standard set with a lower stakes storyline with comparatively small relevance to any multiverse level threat, like Kamigawa, original Innistrad, original Ravnica, Lorwyn, etc. Major win, not every story is about the fate of the world.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them happen recently.
And especially since we're going back to one block stories, you
Yeah.
know, that makes it much more likely.
Exactly.
Ninja creature type back in black border. If or when, that is a minor when. He says, I'm not sure what world they'll show up on, but I do think we'll see ninjas again one day.
What about this one? You use the wombat creature type again.
Wombat.
Could be a Simic shark wombat. I'm very here for shark wombat.
I love it. Wombat.
Minor if though. If R&D has one giant wombat fan, so I wouldn't count wombats out completely out.
Oh, okay.
Wombats.
Great.
And an instant sorcery matters mechanic.
Didn't we just get that?
Seems likely.
Kind of.
Addendum doesn't say that they matter. That talks about phases of your turn mattering.
I guess I was thinking about Jumpstart, but
Oh,
that's
I mean, I think
it's a
they're
little
talking
different.
about like Murmuring Mystic is a card that gets pretty close. Crackling Drake, I think does, but it's not a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
It's just a single card. Let's see.
Cleric tribal in standard brackets again is a major when. We do tribal every set, and clerics are in most sets, so the number game is in its favor. Okay, actually, that is surprising to me.
Another Homerid.
That's a minor when. I think that's definitely going to happen.
Ooh, I like this one. A set with a villain versus villain story.
I'm into that.
Yes. Major win or minor win, depending on how you choose to define villain.
Oh,
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Like maybe there are some people out there who think for a while Vraska's a villain, but Vraska's not a villain. Vraska's a misunderstood Gorgon.
Yeah, that's true. Return to Lorwyn is a minor if. Okay, so my question got answered here.
There you go.
Once upon a time, this would have been a major if, but there have been numerous signs that the enfranchised players would really like to go back. That said, returning to a world that did badly is not the easiest thing to sell internally. Wow, I didn't know Lorwyn did poorly.
Well,
I wonder why. It was the first Planeswalkers and stuff,
I have no idea.
and the stuff was cool.
We have Return of Flipwalkers, i.e. Magic Origins. Major win. I loved it.
Okay.
Oh, I loved it so much.
This is definitely
And they
happening.
Say everyone loved it because it was so cool.
It was really cool.
It was so cool.
And this is probably going to happen in War of the Spark. We called this already in our speculation show.
Which is, the Flipwalkers.
Except
Yeah,
it was
you're
worth
right.
flipping in the reverse way.
That's true. We speculated on it.
We did.
Return to Tarkir with the old clans. Major win, minor win. Return to the alternate timeline is a minor if, but return and the clans play a role in the current timeline is a major win.
How about
Okay.
this? The return of Garrick.
Major win.
All right, Garrick's coming back.
Someday.
Most of you like Garrick. We like Garrick. His return is only a matter of time.
Let's see.
That's pretty good. A Viking-themed plane is a minor win, so a lot of people call for a Viking-themed plane, and that seems more plausible.
What do you mean by a lot of people?
I just see it all the time when people are like, "What kind of plane should we do?" And Viking seems to be a number one suggestion from people.
We should make a poll right now.
Okay,
Hold on.
what are you gonna poll?
You know, like what kind of plane?
What kind of plane? And then one of the
Yes.
option is like B-52.
There's
bomber.
yes. What? It's Boeing 747.
Yeah, but Boeing 747.
Okay.
That's where I want to go.
What kind of plane? Viking plane.
Yep.
What's another one that someone talked about?
Wild
earlier?
West.
Wild West plane.
Yep. We could do a return, or do you want to do
No, I think
just new planes?
New planes.
Okay.
Specifically themes.
My suggestion would be like a Sky World plane.
What does that mean?
That's the one. So we talked about Mark Rosewater giving me a slap on the wrist in his article. It's because I pitched a Blind Eternities plane to him.
I mean, all we have to do is look for the major if.
Yeah. It's not in here. It's in a different article. But he said that it was too weird. He said that the Blind Eternities is not a place. You can't just go there. It would be like a set in doorways is what he said, to which I respond, awesome. To which he says, no, that's impossible. There's not mountains. There's not swamps. There's not any of these things. There also no creatures live there except Eldrazi. What are you going to do? And I'm like, no, Mark. You just got to think outside the box. But anyway, that's what he kind of rebuffed me about. But so I adapted my idea into a plane that could fit more along his lines of thinking, which was a plane where aerial dogfighters are like the kings and queens of the world, and some of them go all the way up into space to battle each other. They go through the atmosphere of the plane. Some of them fight amongst the treetops, and that's the green, the forest kind of creatures. Some are like the goblins, and they blast their way through mountains and stuff to fight. And it's kind of like a culture that revolves around aerial battle, which in my head looks like.
Are you trying to tell me that you would count battle inside of a mountain as aerial battle?
No, they blast through to get on their who they're fighting.
Okay.
Anyway, this seems like something goblins would do, but it's like Thor Ragnarok, the planet where they find Hulk. Doing battle's kind of like a garbage junk world that revolves around.
Okay. Now you've sold me on garbage junk world.
Garbage junk world.
That's all you had to say.
And it revolves around battle in the pit in the center, and everyone bets on it and whatever. But in this world, it's the same aesthetic, but instead of battling like in a gladiator ring, they're battling on plane fights.
Okay, hear me out. What if instead Thunderdome?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like a Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love vehicles, so I wanted vehicles to come back.
Vehicles are the worst. Vehicles are creatures you can't kill on your turn.
Anyway, I don't know how to concisely put that in a Twitter poll, but there you go. That's my pitch.
Okay.
That's my pitch.
So we have Wild West, Viking, Thunderdome.
Yep. This one says a thematic African set, which gets a minor win. Or excuse me, a minor win from Mark Rosewater. We have a lot of new worlds to create, so probably one day is what he says.
A new plane about 1001 nights. Oh, I think an Arabian Persian-inspired plane is a minor win, but there's no guarantee it will be Rabia.
Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, there's a lot of questions. You can go and find this list yourself and read through all of the different things, depending on what you might be invested in. Do you like Doretti? I mean, there's an answer about whether we'll see Doretti again and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Planeswalker cards with multiple types besides just Planeswalker. I like
Frog Spirit, perhaps.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
Frog Spirit Planeswalker.
Frog Spirit Planeswalker.
Yeah, that's Mark Rosewater's Tumblr. I'll link to it in the show notes so you can go and check it out. He's very good at responding to fans, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, really cool to get kind of a little bit of insight onto where he thinks Magic. Time for story time with Meghan.
That's right, everyone. So today I'm updating you on what the Golgari happenings are.
Ooh.
First of all, Vraska is the guild leader of the Golgari.
Yeah.
She has a whole underground court, which is awesome.
A mushroom throne.
Yes, and a mushroom dress.
That dress is great.
So in the story, it follows the story of a crowl. So I was talking about how these are a little bit more like slice of life. So it's a crowl, which is a type of insect. And it's really gross because at first he's talking about how his sister is their mom's favorite. And then they go back and it sounds like they're like at, all of their homes. But then you figure out that their home is actually just like the decayed exoskeleton of what was once their mother.
What?
Yeah. It's very gross. It's very gross.
Oh,
and very
so
weird.
Must have been a big mom, or else just big
or
enough.
like a giant beetle or something. Or I think like the crowl laid its eggs in a giant beetle.
Oh,
and
so
then
it's
the
like
beetle
crow
died.
harpooner.
Yes.
Okay, so being like your mom's as big as a house is just like literally,
What?
it's not an insult for them because like she just is.
She just is their home.
Okay.
And they all live in her decayed carcass.
The
Gross and weird.
The Golgari are fun.
Very fun. So this crowl works on a rot farm.
Put up an air freshener. I can smell mom's rotting guts.
I mean, yeah. Except I think it doesn't bother them. They're like, this is fine. And so they work on a rot farm, which is where they go and get a bunch of kinds of mushrooms and stuff. And it turns out that there's been a new lich elected.
Oh.
Which is like a sub-ruler of the Golgari. And the crowl are like, it's always the different Devkaren elves. It's always Devkaren elves. The elves, and the elves look down on the crowl all the time.
And the elves are still
kind.
Golgari.
Yeah, they're Golgari elves.
Okay.
The Devkaren are Golgari elves. Anyways, and they're like, oh, the new lich is still a stinking elf. But they need a new like necromancer assistant.
Obviously.
And so it's going to be a competition of who can collect these 4 mushrooms. And so this crowl runs off to do that.
Okay.
To be part of the competition, and they do, and there's a whole competition thing, and a bunch of terrible things happen to people. Like there's like a tree, a sentient tree that eats a bunch of people.
Oh.
There's a type of all of the mushrooms that they're collecting are different, very deadly types of mushrooms.
Yeah.
So there's like like a zombie fungus that if you get any of it on you or you eat any of it on accident, it like possesses your brain and eventually it grows all inside your body.
Oh my God.
It grows all inside your body and uses you to do its bidding so that it can go and spread its spores everywhere.
Do you want to know a really gross story?
No.
All right.
Not the way you're saying that. I really don't. I'm pretty sure I don't.
This basically happened to me in real life.
No. What?
Sorry.
How?
I had to say it. I got mushroom attacked.
How?
In high school, I was horsing around with some of my friends and rolled into a pile of mushrooms. And they picked all the mushrooms and started like smearing them all over me.
What?
And then
those are not your friends, Maria.
I got mushroom infected. And I had to go to the doctor and they had to give me antifungal cream because I was turning into a mushroom person.
That's disgusting.
Is that the grossest thing you ever heard?
Also, your friends are terrible. That's really upsetting.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting.
High school,
high school boys. They're animals.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oof.
And then there's like this other type of mushroom that they get. That's the last one that if you eat it, you basically become like all of your rage takes over and you just kill everyone that you see until it wears off.
Whoa.
And so so the crowl and another elf tie. And the elf king is like, okay, you can both be my assistants. But then really he teaches all of the magic to the elf.
Yeah.
And then he just has the crowl do whatever. And then
Get coffee.
Exactly. Basically. And then the crowl overhears the lich talking to some Boros officers being like, the Tin Street Massacre that happened because of this type of mushroom that causes someone to become enraged. And I planted that mushroom that it was sourced from on Vraska's gown tonight so that basically he was framing Vraska and got her arrested.
Ooh.
And then this little crowl is like, I have to go tell Vraska this. So he goes to Vraska's court and he's trying to get to her, but she's like way, way, way high up and she's talking to all of her people down below. And so he eats the zombie mushroom because it makes you, the way that this one possesses you is it makes you want to climb really, really high. so that then when it explodes in your body, it sends its spores everywhere. So he takes it, climbs, takes the mushroom from Vraska's cloak, and then jumps off the balcony and falls into a swamp. And then wakes up at the end being like, what happened? I had to have died. And then it's like, he was died. He was died. He was dead.
He was died the whole time.
No, he wasn't died the whole time, but he was dead. And then one of the officers from Vraska's court, like, liched him back to life, necromancied him back to life. Not to life, but he's been, like, necromancied.
Oh.
And it's really cool because all of the Golgari always think about, at the end of it, he's just like, oh, I thought that all this stuff mattered, but now I have my whole death ahead of me to do all of these things.
That's cool.
And it was very cool. Also, like, highly disturbing, very gross. And, you know, like, it really sucks that the elves of the Golgari, you know, there's a lot of allegory in there about how badly they treat the Crow.
So the elves, in this case, they were looking to unseat Vraska, so they're not very good subjects.
No.
And now Vraska knows.
Now, I think so, yeah.
That they were after her.
Yeah.
Mushroom crown.
Yeah.
As it were.
Exactly.
And talk about the extension that you can get to put on these stories.
Also, I saw the other day that someone made a Chrome extension where if you put in this Chrome extension, at the end of every magic story, it will append a little line. And then just, meanwhile, on Innistrad, Soren is still stuck in a rock. That's not like the exact line, but then it has the like a little art of Nahiri sticking him in a rock. Which I think is just like really amazing. Yeah. So big props to whoever made that extension.
I love it.
Delightful. Just because, you know, sometimes you just need to be reminded at the end of every magic story that meanwhile back on Innistrad, Soren Markov is still stuck in a rock.
Fabulous.
It also made me remember that when we were talking about planeswalkers that we hope win the whole thing. I mean, I love Nahiri.
Yeah.
She's probably my fave.
Yeah. By the way, have you seen the new art released for More of the Spark that was out there today? It's on the front page of Reddit, and it's a picture of Nicol Bolas looking more human than he's ever looked, which is I think that's just the way it's drawn. But it's Nicol Bolas standing in like a godlike figure with a brilliant light coming from behind him. You know, what am I trying to think of? The sun.
Oh, the immortal sun.
The immortal sun, I think. Emanating this light, all of the zombies that he's created on Amonkhet, the undead army surrounding him, a portal to Amonkhet you can see behind him, and Liliana kind of like in his grasps, wrapped. His tail is like wrapped around her, looking like she's kind of mind controlled.
Uh-oh.
What do you think?
Wait, is this it?
That's it.
Oh my goodness.
Doesn't it like look pretty cool?
It looks very cool. What is this thing above him?
I don't know. Is that the immortal sun maybe?
I don't know.
It could be.
And look at these. You know what these all are?
Yeah, that's the champions.
The blue zombies from Amonkhet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe a little preview of what's going to happen in War of the Spark, which we could have guessed that Nicol was going to get his zombie army ready to go.
Yeah, and they were going to use the planar bridge, the planar portal, whichever one it was.
This is what it looks like right there, because you can see.
That Tezzeret got to make him put the planes together, bring all his zombies wherever he want.
And you can tell that's Amonkhet because there's two suns.
Where do you see? Oh, yeah. The two suns behind Lily, you mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that looks like the portal. So that's like the portal behind her that they're all coming through?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's so creepy.
Uh-oh. I'm very excited, though.
Yeah.
Well, before War of the Spark comes out, we'll have time to catch you up on what each of the little backstories of all the guilds was in Storytime with Meghan. You know, just remember, you have your whole death ahead of you. That's great.
Meghan, look, it's Ghost Host.
Oh no! Oh, Maria, that's a skeleton.
It's just a skeleton on a bag.
Skeleton on a bag.
Hey, we're here to tell you about Ultra Pro, and this is one of their cool dice bags that has a little skull with a bow in its bones.
A bow in its bones.
I was gonna say hair, but
it has no hair
on this thing.
A bow in its bones.
It's really cool. They've got so many sweet accessories for your gaming needs.
There's tons of stuff like awesome playmats, awesome sleeves. No matter what guild you're in, there are sleeves for you. No matter what magic art you like, there's sleeves that will appeal to you. Trade binders to keep all your nice cards safe, and so much more.
You know what? If you want to be like Autumn Lily and win a Mythic Championship, perhaps you should use Ultra Pro Guild sleeves, which is exactly what they were using when they won the Mythic Championship. Cynic sleeves.
Really?
Yeah.
Spicy.
So think about it. If they're good enough for a Mythic Championship winner,
They're good enough for you.
all right, that's our show for today. Cats and kittens, put away your mittens. It's time to not listen to this anymore. Hey.
What was that?
Wow. I
That
don't know.
was-
I
was
went somewhere
trying to-
for a
I was
second.
trying to figure out what you reminded me of, but I don't remember.
I don't really know.
Hey, cats and kittens.
A 50s announcer.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking of like television
Yeah.
back in the day.
Back in the day TV.
Because I know so much about back in the day TV.
You know what we do know so much about?
What?
This giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been doing a Gleam giveaway for our Patreon Pledge Drive month in February. And the winner of the whole thing this month is none other than Kyle Burton from California.
Congrats, Kyle. Go ahead and give us a little email.
Yeah, we'll send you a prize package full of great stuff, including these foily boggle boys.
That's right, Maria's Foil Boggle birthday giveaway.
Yes, that's right. It's almost my birthday, so these little boggles are headed to a new home. You feel free to do whatever you like with them. Put them in a boggle deck or burn them.
Don't you just give your pets away every birthday?
That's so
Everyone's
so
birthday
dark.
comes around and it's a giant pet swap.
Ooh, a pet swap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, that made it sound like everyone's birthday is on the same day.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if that would work.
That was very dark.
Anyway, something that's not dark.
What? The sky outside?
The good kind of chocolate. Ooh,
Oh,
shots
wow.
fired. Shots
Maria,
fired.
Milk chocolate
Shots fired.
is just like the toilet. You heard me. I said it's the toilet of chocolate.
I was actually going to say Patreon Pledge Drive Month. It's coming to an end this episode. And yeah, we're so very thankful once again for everybody who became a patron on patreon.com/GLHFmagic. But don't worry, if you didn't get a chance to, there's still time to get in under the bar for the end of February and get those free Meghan and Maria tokens.
That's right. And if you're already a patron and you're like, hey, I would love some tokens, if you up your pledge at all this month, you can also get in on that sweet, sweet deal. They're so cool.
Yeah.
We really love them. We hope that you're going to love them also.
Yeah, we've got a new way for you to get them next month, but we're not going to tell you about that just yet. Keep you
No.
in suspense. But yeah, please feel free to continue your membership after this month because it is still super relevant that you help out our show in these difficult times.
Yes.
And thanks to Card Kingdom and Ultra Pro once again for being our sponsors. Once again, go to cardkingdom.com/GLHF and use that link so they know you support us when you buy anything there. Remember to ask for a Good Luck High Five sticker in your order. That's 100% free.
Well, I'm going to go put my head in a snowbank.
Ooh, really?
I feel so out of it.
Do you think that'll wake you up?
Well,
Probably.
Either that or it won't.
Or it'll do the exact opposite.